And we start in Vegas, where Maxx Crosby's future is in question, and his latest comments did little to quiet those questions. Raiders star was asked about trade rumors on the Let's Go podcast, and he did not hold back.
I just want to play football and be left the fuck alone, period. And if people that don't understand that don't fucking know me. People can say whatever they want, but truly, I don't give a fuck besides playing football and winning football games. I give my whole life to this sport every single day. I'm here every morning. My alarm goes off at 4:55, and I am driving 35 minutes across town in an empty, dark building, doing the same thing every single day, trying to help my team, trying to help myself. People can talk all they want. People go on Twitter. I don't even see it. Half of it is news to me. I just care about playing football.
So, yeah, I still don't get why he lives so far from the facility. But anyway, it's Friday on NFL Live. I'm Dan Graziano. We're here with Brooke Pryor, as I mentioned, Mike Tannenbaum, and Jeremy Fowler. And let's start there with Maxx Crosby. Mike T., what was your reaction when you heard what he had to say?
He's all ball. Apparently, he has a long commute, Dan.
He does. A lot of time to think about these things.
I would say this from a Raider perspective. This is a fairly complicated decision for a couple of reasons. First of all, you have a great player, 28 years old, clearly in his prime. And if they wanted to trade him, Giant, Spytek, Clint Kubiak, and others, there would be a massive market when you think about Dallas, Tampa, amongst many others. But he's also a great tone and culture setter, someone that could really help establish a program in year one. I would lean towards trading him because they're not going anywhere anyway, and they have a multitude of needs from O-line to corner to another receiver, amongst many other things. And since you're not going to win with him anyway, and if you could get multiple picks, a 1 and a 3, 2 2s, whatever it may be, I think, unfortunately, from a Raider perspective, you got to strongly consider that.
Crosby might live far away from the facility, but the Raiders have a lot of neighbors now. They got teams knocking on the door trying to get a deal done because there's going to be a lot of interest in Maxx Crosby, to the point where one team source told me that they believe the chances of Crosby coming back are pretty small because the Raiders are going to eventually weigh that they have a lot of team needs. They got to figure this out, and they could add them with draft capital that they desperately need, and he would require a lot to facilitate a trade. So a lot has to happen. They have not made a determination yet, but it seems like this is trending a certain way right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. He said a lot of stuff on the Let's Go podcast, but one thing he didn't say was, yes, I want to be a Raider.
Yeah.
So we're waiting to find out that. Brooke, as their custom is, the Raiders have a new head coach. And so Clint Kubiak, what would you say is the first order of business he needs to take care of?
Well, Mike T was just talking about how Maxx Crosby is a culture setter and a tone setter on defense. Clint Kubiak has got to find that guy on offense, and that could very well be in the draft this year. And Fernando Mendoza, he's got to figure out the quarterback situation. That is priority number one. They still have Geno Smith on the roster. He is due, $26.5 million guaranteed this year. So it makes a lot of sense to keep him on the roster, especially if he is up for mentoring Fernando Mendoza. If he's not, though, and if he could hinder setting that culture, setting that tone, then perhaps you do trade him away or cut him, even though you would be eating a big cap. But the priority number one for Clint Kubiak has got to be figure out the quarterback situation. We just saw what he did with Sam Darnold. So he has a precedent of helping some of these quarterbacks make big strides. Perhaps you could do that with a rookie.
Yeah, Brooke, for me, this is easy. You draft Fernando Mendoza and you play Geno Smith. Last year, the sack per play rate for the Raiders was 12.4%, worse than the NFL. There is no way I am putting Fernando Mendoza out behind that line for much, if not all, of this year. We learned from David Carr a couple of decades ago what it did to him, amongst many others. We saw someone like Patrick Mahomes sit for all but one game his rookie year. Why are we in a rush to play Mendoza when the future is going to take a while to develop? So Geno Smith should be a stabilizing bridge quarterback. He's a good teammate, always has had that reputation. So to me, draft Mendoza, play Geno Smith, and build from there.
Yeah, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they do. When Ben Johnson was a first-year head coach last year in Chicago, first thing they did in free agency, 3 new offensive linemen. So maybe they could rebuild that on the fly a little bit in front of the rookie. We will find out. Another star player who could be on the move this offseason is Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown. Jeremy, what do you got on that?
Well, multiple executives that I've spoken to, Dan, believe that the Eagles will eventually entertain a trade for A.J. Brown. That has not happened yet. They have not set a firm course of action, but GM Howie Roseman is known as aggressive. It was pretty clear throughout the year that A.J. Brown had moments of unhappiness and frustration about 8 or 9 different times.
Clear.
So that's sort of on the table. They could rebuild with Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, and maybe add a piece or two with those new draft picks they could get get another receiver, maybe rebuild the O-line a little bit. So the Eagles have some options, but Brown's name is percolating this week for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And it was clear that the year did not go the way he wanted it to go. It did not go the way the Eagles wanted it to go. But A.J. Brown averaged the fewest yards per reception in any season of his NFL career. His yards per game and first downs were also his lowest since joining the Eagles. Worth noting, Brown was targeted more this year than he was last year in the Eagles Super Bowl season, but his catch percentage was down. So, Brooke, with Philly expected to entertain A.J. Brown trade conversations, what should that tell us about the Eagles' overall approach to this offseason?
Well, as Jeremy just said, the front office is incredibly aggressive. And when I spoke with a league source, they said nobody in Philly is off limits. And in Philly, everything is transactional. That means that, yeah, A.J. Brown absolutely on the table. Maybe they don't have a trade right now, but as you guys mentioned, he was unhappy. There is clearly frustration there on both sides. This offense could look a little bit different this coming year with the new offensive coordinator. Now's the time to get a fresh start, get some return from A.J. Brown. Both sides end up better off in the long run.
Yeah, Brooke, like the easy one for me would be A.J. Brown to Buffalo for the 26 picks that we talked about this morning. I think that's a win-win. And when you think about Philadelphia, they do have to address the offensive line. Landon Dickerson may retire. Lane Johnson is clearly close to the end. Chris Cooper, I think, is going to do a good job as the new O-line coach, but that's going to take some time as well. So if I'm Philly, I could get a 1 for A.J. Brown, who's 28, still in his prime. I think that's a way to rebuild on the fly. So, again, very good player, probably needs a change of scenery.
We'll see what happens in Philadelphia. Obviously, you mentioned it'll be a new offense, but they need a new offense. The offense was very disappointing last year in Philadelphia as they tried and failed.
4 years, with Brady and Allen's ear calling plays since the middle of the 2023 season. While Brady's new responsibilities as head coach will naturally mean less one-on-one time with Allen during the week and during games, Brady understands the assignment when it comes to maximizing what the Bills have at quarterback.
Everything I think about is trying to find ways to put him in a position to have success, because that's all I care about with him. Josh Allen is the best player in the NFL.
All right, for more on the outlook for 2026 and beyond in Buffalo, Graz handing off to senior NFL writer and reporter Jeremy Fowler. Jeremy, before Josh Allen and Joe Brady can begin their relationship as head coach and quarterback, Allen needs to recover from off-season foot surgery that he underwent late in January. So how will that affect his prep?
Well, the expectation is that Josh Allen will be back for off-season workouts. So there's not a definitive date that the Bills really need right now because there's not a major concern that this is going to hamper him long-term in any way. And the real bullets are flying more in mini camp and training camp and all that. So he'll be ready for that, but he's hoping to be there for OTAs. And look, he and Joe Brady, the new head coach, have developed a good rapport the last few years. Allen certainly endorses Brady as his new head coach, so he wants to help set a tone in the offseason workouts as Brady gets started.
All right, I know one thing that Bills fans want to see is something new at wide receiver. Whatever Joe Brady and the front office decide to do, help for Josh Allen catching passes. What are some names that Buffalo could potentially target this offseason?
Well, the Bills, Ty, could scour the earth for receiver help. In the past, they've signed sort of second-tier receivers in free agency. Hasn't quite